This is the Lockpicker 1969, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this edition of Interview with a Lockpicker. Today's guest is CorrectJeans. Say hi, CorrectJeans.
Hey, how's it going? This is CorrectJeans.
Okay. Um, so, can you tell us a little bit about how and when you got into locksport?
Yeah, it was about 4 years ago, January of 2018. I guess that's close to five. Um, I was a grad student, um, finishing up my dissertation, and had a couple of years left, but didn't really have a whole lot of real work to do. So I did what some people call a secret PhD, which is when you no longer need to work on your real PhD, you get really into something else. And so I ended up just picking up some lockpicking tools one day and just going at it 3 hours a day ish, like just all in, no breaks, and never really looked back.
So, what was your graduate degree in?
I I I got mine in applied physics,
Oh, wow.
mostly on optical sciences.
Oh, cool. So, you mentioned something about augmented reality glasses. Does that tie in to all that?
So I didn't actually do any of that when I was in grad school. I was working on more or less just making really neat diffraction gratings just for the purpose of making really neat diffraction gratings, academia type of stuff. You do it because why the hell not?
Okay.
Um, the augmented reality stuff showed up as my job after the fact. It happened to use concepts that are similar to what I learned, um, namely designing diffraction gratings, because a lot of the modern systems that are used for augmented reality and in current and upcoming products use uh, nanostructured gratings on some very interesting and hard to work with glass.
Okay. Way over my head. All right. So, can you talk a little bit about how and when you got involved in the lock sport community, and what you were involved in?
It must have been, I think, the summer after I started. So is when I think I first logged on to the Discord. Um, Went ahead and by that point, you know, hours a day for that long got me pretty far, and so I just like I popped in a picture of it, a picked Twin 6000 in the belt requests and was asked for orange. I then later learned that that wouldn't have actually been valid for orange because you can only do pictures for unguttable locks, so that actually wasn't allowed, but they let me have it anyway. Um, After that, I did my due diligence, hung out way more than is healthy on an online forum, and made my way up through the belt ranks until eventually, after reaching black, I did the same thing that every black belt did at the time, which is get bored and stop picking, um, and mostly just sort of dick around in the lockpicking lounge and shoot the shit with people and maybe give give advice about locks every once in a while. Um, after a while of that, I decided it might be a good idea to see if there was something that we could change to add a little extension to the game so that black belts had something to do with their time, because apparently lockpicking isn't it anymore. And so I wrote up a draft of what came to be known as the Dan system, um,
Yep.
which is what people use to add stripes to their black belt by mostly just picking more locks. But the intent of it was to try to act as an extension to the quests and encourage people to get more into things like safe cracking and tool making
Yep.
and impressioning and all that stuff. But for the most part, all the prolific people right now just pick shit tons of locks. That's just and that's what I do too. So that's I respect that. That's the fun way.
That's cool. So, what Dan level are you?
Uh, Actually, it's a little undefined right now because the system has changed a lot, and I've been sort of out of the game for a bit, and I've never recalculated it. Unofficially, I'm I think it's 5 or 6. Wow, I don't actually remember.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like 5. Yeah, I got to fifth, but there's some people who are, up in like the 15 range. Um, some people are way up there.
Okay.
Used to max out at 10, and now it maxes out at 20.
Oh wow. That's something. I can't even imagine. Um,
Well, there used
go ahead.
well there used to not even be enough black belt locks to get that far.
Yeah. Well, there's more and more get added all the time though, don't they?
Yeah, we discover new stuff. It's not like the amount of locks in the world is going down.
Yeah, that's true. So, from your perspective, you've seen how the LPU has kind of developed and changed over the years you've been involved in it. Can you talk about that with regard to like Reddit and Discord?
Uh, yeah, as you can imagine, it used to be a lot smaller, and I wasn't. I'm not. I would not consider myself one of the old guard. That's folks like Fire Shaper and Tumblr um, and Siri. Those guys were around back when they put together the original belt list. Um, and that whole thing happened in just like a flurry of activity over, from what I understand, a very short period of time. But it was a lot raunchier back in the days, from what I remember. I mean, you had stuff like, um, I don't know if this is still well known. Like you had like a PKR right in Lock Erotica, which is just if I'm pretty sure if someone were to post one of those things now, there would be an argument about warning them in the mod chat. Standards change a bit over time,
Yeah.
but they kind of have to, because you end up with a larger community, and you need to have, just from the way that large groups of people tend to work.
Some kind
You
of
can't
standards.
allow, yeah, you can't allow a larger group of people to be as rowdy as a small group of people,
Yeah.
because what happens is that you just get noise, and like nothing ever gets through besides
And then
noise and bullshit.
it stops being a useful community then.
Yeah, and it's the type of change that a lot of people aren't, and people get upset about it, but it's really just sort of what happens when the number of people on average in chat goes up. You can't have that many people bullshitting at the same time.
Yeah. All right. A little bit of fun stuff. What are the googly eyes about?
Well, I'm really just trying to represent my people, my heritage. I come from a long line of people with pupils that just rattle around in their head, and it's something where my ancestors um, made googly eyes as a representation of themselves, to really portray to the world what their condition is like, and I'm just trying to represent my own culture.
Okay. All right. Then the next thing is on your videos you have food thumbnails. Can you explain
Well,
that a little bit?
the, it, there've been a few of my videos that I've made where you know I did walkthroughs of like some of my apartment, and some of the things that were there were visible, and what a lot of people will notice in those is that my refrigerator, my cabinets, um, uh, my plants outside, they all have a healthy amount of locks on them. I think they're a very important part of anyone's diet, and I like to just, whenever I do an interesting lock, I also like to sort of showcase an example of how it can be used in a culinary setting.
Okay. All right. Now, I'd like to kind of get to something that I know is near and dear to your heart, and I wanted to spend a good amount of time in this interview talking about it. With the LPU raffle, can you tell me when that started and
Yeah, so
how it
the
got started?
so I actually don't know exactly how it got started, because the origin of it is before my time. I think that the actual the two the first raffle that I did was in 2019, 2020. And 2 years prior to that, there had been another one, and I don't even know if there was another one before that. But that had been run by Pot Kettle Racism, and I believe Papa Rowboat was involved with that to an extent as well. And uh, I don't have that much information about what all happened back then. The internet's a dark place. Um, but though in 2019, I got contacted by Papa Robot asking if I wanted to play a part in sort of reviving it. And that I said yes. That's basically how that went. And so we went along trying to get the raffle revived and starting it again. Um, from what I gathered, it had been a rather small affair in the previous events. They had raised on the order of around $500 from roughly a dozen-ish people. But I wanted to open it up to a new format that made it a lot more acceptable to be run internationally with a wider variety of
Okay.
um, participants and prizes and all that. And the community really embraced it, and I'm really happy with how it developed.
Okay. So, what exactly is the raffle about, really?
So the raffle is about using. It's about a couple things. The first is giving people um, an impetus to donate to the causes that they feel are important to them. As with any sort of charity event, we're trying to make a difference in a way that we think is meaningful. In this sort of international setting, that means different things to different people. So we try to be flexible about that. But the other side of it is we really want to. It sort of acts a bit as like a community showcase and a community exchange. A lot of people put together very nice handcrafted works. A lot of custom picks go through the raffle. A lot of uh, artistic uh, artistic expression. Just things that people produce, homemade tools, homemade stickers and posters,
Yep.
um, and it's just very cool to see what everyone sort of comes together and to bring all these prizes in, and that's really cool. The prize collection always ends up being way bigger and more diverse than it really has any right to be.
All right. So, who all is involved in the community with this?
So for the first three raffles, the main two drivers were me and Papa Rowboat, and throughout the years, other people have really stepped up and helped out a lot. Logan is on Discord, has been really instrumental. Both him and Rowboat have been very proactive about vetting the charities and making sure that they're all financially good to go. Um, Logan has also been really good about getting prize pots from companies like Sparrows and Multipick. Uh, Decoder actually did the Multipick ones, but Logan's helped out with like Sparrows and Mako and those guys. Um, Moon UA and Panda Frog last year helped us put together a website for the raffle, which was a really big upgrade from just the Reddit and Discord posts plus spreadsheets. Um, and um, Naswek has helped us sort of make our spreadsheets more high tech, adding new forms and making the whole process a little bit more streamlined. Um, it's really been a big team effort, and it's been slowly improving every year. I've been very happy with it, and I really appreciate all the help that everyone's been putting in.
Okay, great. So, what charity or charities does this raffle support, and how are they selected?
So yeah, I mentioned this a bit earlier, which is that um, this is a very international endeavor, so we don't really. There are a number of international charities that tend to be well respected. You have your Doctors Without Borders, for example, is one. Pretty much anything that AGDQ would use is a good international charity. But we uh, everyone has sort of a different value system, and there's a lot of good charities out there, and we don't want to pretend like we're the arbiters of what the best choice is. And so we allow people to pick their own, but we do vet all of those charities before we allow them to be used. So we'll do things like check Charity Navigator. Logan will actually go through like tax records and make sure um,
Good.
that they're using the funds in ways that make sense and actually going towards the causes that they
Yeah.
state they are.
That they're
Right now,
I was just going to say, so that they're not spending 95% of what's donated on administrative costs and the other 5%
yeah.
goes to what it's supposed to support. Yep.
And then I think the other main restriction we have is I don't think we, well, I know we don't do political campaigns. We don't allow political campaigns or uh, religious charity donations because those can get a little like iffy.
Yeah.
But right now we do have on our list there's 104 charity options. And we'll probably go through and revet a lot of those just to make sure that nothing has changed before we put the list out. But the list has been growing every year. We don't reset it each year because they've all been pre-approved, so there's no reason to.
Yeah.
Although we do get a little worried about decision paralysis, so we might post something to kind of help people choose a short list maybe. But
Mm-hmm.
we don't really want to play favorites with them is the main thing, and so that's
No,
that's difficult.
give people choices based on what their beliefs are. And yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So, for someone to participate in the raffle, how do they go about entering and how much does it usually cost to enter?
Yeah, so when the raffle starts on January 1st, there will be a sticky post on the lockpicking subreddit that has all the information about how to join, what the prize pots are, links to the website. This will also be announced with an everyone on the Discord chat as well. Um, and within that, there will be links to a Google form where you can uh, um, choose, select your charity, post your proof of donation, and allocate your tickets. And I'll get back to sort of what all that means. But in order to actually uh, join the raffle to submit tickets into the prize pots, you need to donate to one of the charities on the list and then save the receipt, um, uh, usually like an email confirmation of some sort, with information on it that indicates the date. That's just so that we know it was recent. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Upload that to an image sharing site like Imgur,
Yep.
Imgur,
Yep.
and then you can just put it in the link field in the form, and we'll check it and approve it.
Okay.
Um, and then there will be a huge collection of prize pots. So last year we had 73 prize pots.
Wow.
Um, I don't know how many we'll have this year, but I don't think it'll be that much less. Um, sorry, last year it was 63. My bad. Um, and each of those will indicate its country of origin, and whether or not the contributors to that prize pot have indicated whether they're willing to pay for international shipping. So that if you're not in the country where the pot comes from, whether or not you're on the hook for international shipping if you win it.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
so you can every dollar USD equivalent that you donated to the charity equals one ticket, and you can allocate those tickets amongst the pots however you would like. Most donations are around $10 to $50. Um, Sometimes we'll get people who just like repeatedly donate $5 like multiple times over the month, um, because they see a pot that they didn't notice earlier and really want it. Um, but yeah, it's the donations range over many orders of magnitude. So you'll have the $5 donations, the 10, the $50 donations. Every once in a while, you'll get people that have like really crazy big donations. And last year, it actually did cause a problem because one person won a lot of the pots, and we're actually going to have a new rule in place this year that prevents that from happening. So
Oh, that's good.
stay tuned. We'll provide more information on that.
Okay.
But there will not be one person winning a quarter of the pots this year.
Okay, that's good. So, how much did the raffle generate last year for charities overall?
Last year, not including company matches, uh, we raised $48,122.
Wow, that's nice. That's awesome. And what's your goal for this year?
Well, we're trying to break 50K. Got so close last year.
That's a good goal to shoot for.
Tripped at the finish line.
All right, so last question I'm going to ask, and then we'll kind of wrap up the episode. Is there anything you'd like to say to our audience?
Well, I mean, I can sort of just say, whenever you get the opportunity, to sort of take up an endeavor like lockpicking or any other sort of interesting hobby. It's really rewarding just to go all in if you have the time and energy to do it. It's getting really really deep into something has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life, and I
Definitely
can't recommend it enough.
I agree wholeheartedly. All right. I want to thank you for this interview. This has been great. I've really enjoyed this.
Oh, thank you.
And so, in wrapping up, if you are a subscriber, thank you. If you are not yet a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, hit like, and turn on notifications all so you can be notified about content like this and new interviews, as well as giveaways and the drawings for those giveaways. With that, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.